And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another season of the Global StarCraft League Code S Ro16 Group A. I'm of course host Live VIP, and with me I'm joined by my lovely chains and the lovely people in the chat. Part of me was secretly hoping that this season of GSL they would change the themes and they would get rid of they would do something else, but no. The chains, they have stuck around, Papi, so I will forever be chained up here casting GSL. It's okay. I like it, Papi. It's fine, but welcome everyone, welcome to another season. Of course, we did cast the qualifiers of GSL Season 3. It was a lot of good fun. We were covering a lot of SOS, if I recall correctly. We got to see Scarlett's rise through the qualifiers, Australia's as well, and everyone's, as we covered all of those qualifying matches. I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago at this point. So if you want to tune into the VODs are available on our Twitch for the qualifiers of this event. But the event has begun starting a couple of days ago. For those curious, this is a replay cast. These matches were played 2 days ago on Tuesday, I believe, and we've been busy casting every day, but today we have a moment of reprieve. Today we do have some time here to go over these games, to have a GSL replay cast. We did of course cast the last season of GSL as well, and we plan to do the same this season as long as time permits. I think last season we only casted up to the round of 4. I think we finished up the round of 16 and the round of 8. Didn't quite get into the round of 4 just because we were shot for time. You know, there was Gamers 8 going on, there was Home Story Cup going on as well, there was a lot of Masters Coliseum, the KSL SummerSlam. There was a lot of casting going on, so eventually we weren't able to finish it off, but you know, it's fine. You know, round of 4 onward, you know, the mainstream have you covered with that, with State and with Tasteless, of course. But here we are with the beginning of GSL Season 3, Bobby, Season 3, and it's quite a group. It is quite a group we have before us here, !B, but be careful with that command, as there are spoilers for the group. But we can have a look at the group here before us. We do have Maru versus Scarlett and Solar versus Creator. This is a GSL format group. The way this works is, of course, 4 players enter, 2 players do make it through. The winners face each other, the losers face each other, and then we have the decider match at the end. All best of 3s, bear that in mind. The best of 5s don't start until later on in the tournament, so this is a little bit brutal. But the great thing about the GSL format and these groups that everyone does always champion is preparation. You know, you do come into this with weeks of planning, coming into these matches, coming into preparing against your specific players, the maps as well. And that's going to be another interesting factor, is that the qualifiers were on the previous patch and they were on the previous map pool. But now we have the main event with new maps, with the new patch. Everything shiny new, and I'm excited. I'm excited to see more of this. You know, the patch has been out for almost 2 weeks now, I think, almost 2 weeks. But it still feels like we're just getting so much out of these new maps, and we're still learning so much. We're still exploring a lot of different builds, a lot of different all-ins. We've been seeing a lot of weird proxies and taking the gold bases on maps like Alcyone, on maps like even Radisson Station. I think it was yesterday. Yesterday we casted Kalazur versus Skillis, and Skillis' expansion pattern on Radisson Station was so fascinating to me. It was so much fun to see. Likewise, the way that players were trying to take advantage of the gold bases, whether it's on Golden or an Alcyone Station. Sorry, Alcyone. Yeah, it's been really cool to see everyone still figuring out the changes here to the game, and we'll see what our players have figured out tonight, because it's a pretty brutal group. Of course, big fan of Scarlett, of course. We go way back when it comes to being a fan of Axiom, for those who remember, for those who are around back in 2014, 2013. Axiom was, of course, Total Biscuits group, and Axiom, they competed in GSTL. GSTL was the Global StarCraft Team League, not the Global StarCraft League. It was a team league that they used to have, and Axiom partnered with Acer back in the day, which involved MMA, Innovation, and Scarlett, as they all lived together in the Axiom team house. And ever since then, so a little bit biased. That's also why I'm biased towards like Ryung, for example, or Crank or Impact, etc. So I'll try to keep my biases to myself. But there are some big names here. You know, I do think a lot of people coming into this were saying that, or myself included, that Scarlett drew a really rough group here. Maru being arguably the best Terran player in the world at the moment. You've got Solar, who's top 2 Zerg in Korea, and then you've got Creator, who's always a wild card, who had his own insane GSL run a couple of seasons ago. So, not someone to write off. So I'm ready for it, puppy. I'm ready to dive into this, to dive into our first best of 3. Oh, did Dark give you those chains? I gave him the chains. And then he tied me up. So getting into this. Let's go, puppy. Let's go. Our first series is going to be Maru versus Scarlett in a TvZ. Oh, let us go. As game 1 is going to be Alkioni. So we have been casting a bit of Maru recently in WTL and World Team League, and we have noticed that at least in some of the other matchups he has been struggling a little bit more. But hey, when it comes to this matchup, I can't quite back that up because he's still a terrifying player. But here in the top right hand corner we have our Canadian Zerg player representing Shopify Rebellion. It is Scarlett. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have her opponents. We have the South Korean Terran player representing Onside Gaming. The best Terran in Korea, the best Terran in the world. It is Maru. Oh my, Maru opting to go for the low ground Raxes here again. For those who are unfamiliar, you know, Bjorn of course popularized this in recent times, but when it comes to the inception of this build, both Bjorn and Maru were working on it back last year in November for DreamHack Atlanta. They did work on it, of course Bjorn did refine it, and players since then have been enjoying it, and there it is, the 2rax is upon us. We haven't been seeing too much of this in the new map pool and in the new patch, so I'm glad to see this again. We've been seeing a lot of, like, you know, Cyclone based openers or standard Rax expands, so I'm happy to see Maru attempt this here on the new maps even, and we'll see how well he can execute it. Likewise, we'll see how well Scarlett can keep up with it as well. For the most part, this has been figured out. I say figured out. Essentially, this should be containing Scarlett to 2 bases. This should be denying the 3rd and delaying the 3rd for as long as Maru can muster. There are some Zerg players that try to sneak out a 3rd base and try to get away with some greed, but that is a really risky and really difficult thing to do. So yeah, we'll see what kind of approach Scarlett goes for. For now, it is going to be a hatch gas pool opener here from Scarlett. Likewise, Maru going for his 2 Raxes back at home. Reaver production has commenced for our Terran player. I was also going to quickly mention as well that when it comes to this season of GSL, there are 2 foreigners within it, which is always exciting to see. It's going to be Scarlett and Estrella. Special this season is not going to be involved as he is not currently residing in Korea. He is back in Mexico. Again, there were some visa issues in the past, if you recall, and he did kind of overstay. And I don't know if that's going to impact his ability to go back to Korea anytime soon. So for the time being, it is just Scarlett and Estrella in GSL. In the last season of GSL of the year, actually, now that I think about it. I can't believe it's already been quite some time, and yeah, we are here in the last season of the year. Meanwhile, the Reaper has arrived, going to be dancing with these Lings. Scarlett does sneak out of 3rd base, and Maru, for the time being, is unaware of it. He has not seen it. Go straight for the mineral line, and he will not get a drone. 2nd Reaper will arrive, and Maru not quite able to get too much damage here. Looking at the unit source tab, he got 1 Ling, but only a single Ling. As Maru does check the triangular 3rd, and he should be rotating over towards the linear 3rd base. For now, though, he hasn't. He has stopped at 3 Reapers. He will now spot this base, but it is a late scout out of Maru, which means he will not deny this 3rd. What I mean by that is that if Maru had seen this ahead of time, then he would have made a 4th and 5th Reaper, and he would have gotten a cancel on that hatchery. But because Maru was, you know, spending a lot of time here at the natural, and because he checked the triangular 3rd first, it means that he wasn't quite able to force a cancel, and Scarlett's in a pretty good position as a result. She hasn't lost anything to these Reapers. Oh, the target firing, oh, not quite there. The tumor goes down. Big pickoff here from Maru, keeping everything alive and keeping the creep at bay. Very big pickoff this early on here for Maru. But again, because the hatchery has gotten up and running, this is not quite worth it here for Maru in the end. He again made additional Reapers, and they weren't quite worth their while. We didn't really get any additional damage that 1 Reaper wouldn't have done, other than maybe the tumor. Behind this, we're going into a 3cc 2-1-1 setup. We do have the add-ons, of course, for Stim, for the reactor. 3rd CC was thrown down much earlier, so a very economic variation here out of Maru. This does, of course, mean that eventually he's going to have map control with these Marines, with this bio army, but it's going to take some time to get into the Star Pro production, to get into our add-on swap as well. We do have a couple of Hellions to help out with map control, but for the time being, Scarlett is free to drone. After the early game, and because of this specific build, it takes quite some time for Maru to actually be active on the map, so Scarlett can saturate this third base and get up to even a fourth base behind this. Lings do scout and confirm at least the add-ons. Scarlett's just trying to get a read on things, and it is important to keep an eye on Maru, just because Maru has been known to really mix things up and even mix in like a Banshee follow-up to this instead of going for the add-on swap. But we should be seeing an add-on swap. Like, there is no tech lab on the way or anything like that. Things are looking pretty by the book here from Maru. Oh, I spoke too soon. Are we gonna... Okay. We are going for the add-ons up. I was like, are we gonna keep on making Hellions? Because we have 4 Hellions, which isn't too many. This is enough for, like, again, map control and to keep creep at bay. But we go straight into an armory. So this is gonna be a Hellbat push. This is gonna be that much more committed. My, oh my. The push is already moving out. The Marines, likewise, they have stim. This is spotted by Scarlett. She's aware she's going to catch some of these Reapers. Pretty big pickoffs. Reapers can be underestimated at times, so they can do a lot of damage here with the army. Meanwhile, the Hellions have also been spotted. Again, this is no big surprise. 4 Hellions, again, is pretty standard. The armory is not. Back at home, we do have a safety Bailey nest on the way. We are trying to set up. The queens are being brought forward. How many queens exactly do we have? We are up to 9, 10 queens. That's a lot of queens. Lings do go for a backstab, and they're looking to deny combat shields. Combat shields is going to go down. Meanwhile, Maru is committed. The Hellbats have been morphed in, but with 10 queens on the front lines, there's plenty of energy for transfuse. I don't think Maru can really push in. He's going to try it. Bailey Nest is about to finish off, and Maru, he sees the queens. He backs the hell off. He knows that he cannot engage. He's going to go for some secure damage instead, but back at home, he has to rebuild his add-ons. His production has been delayed, and now he's going for his third base. Now, thankfully, Maru didn't throw away his army, right? It's like, it would have been disastrous if he tried to force the issue and lost everything. Because if he had lost everything, then Maru would not be able to hold on to this third. This third would be completely vulnerable, completely exposed, and Scarlett could deny it for as long as she could, or as long as possible. So at least Maru has a presence on the map, and he's just trying to keep Scarlett at bay, try to threaten her, and make sure that Maru can actually get this third base up and running. Meanwhile, Scarlett is droning, saturating her bases. Lair is on the way. It is a very late lair here from Scarlett, but that's just because she's been focusing a lot more on drone production. We can see 73 workers already. The economy is looking solid here for Scarlett. The tech a little bit behind, but we're catching up here. And again, Scarlett has taken the role of the defender for the time being. Is just trying to keep up here. A lot of creep is going down, but we have plenty of queens to keep spreading that creep. We're up to 30. Oh my. You thought 10 was... We have 13 queens, papi. Ay. 13 queens here for Scarlett. Again, under no danger of dying anytime soon, as long as she doesn't get caught off of creep. Her 5th base is on the way. No macro hatching. We're just going for bases at this point. 1-1 in production. We have a Hydra Den on the way as well. So Ling Bane Hydra is the composition of choice here for Scarlett. And again, her economy is just out of this world. 85 workers already. She has hit critical mass. She has hit the ideal worker count for the rest of this game. And now all she has to do is defend a 6th base. She's double expand. Oh my. 6th base is thrown down. We do see a drop threatening the main, but Scarlett does see it ahead of time. Spores on the way. The queens are rotating on over. Likewise, we have Lings being split off towards the left-hand side. The drop does get in, but we shouldn't really get too much done. We get a kill on the Spore, but not much else. Behind this, I guess my eyes are on Maru. He has been delayed. He has 1-1 at least, and with the armor, he can get into 2-2. He's building up his forces. He is up to, oh my god, we are 8-raxing. We're going for a 3-base all-in. I guess because of the start of the game, Maru is not too satisfied with how things went, and macroing from here is going to be difficult, especially because, again, Scarlett, she's on 80+ workers. Like, it's going to be difficult to keep up with that. So an all-in is coming from Maru. All or nothing. It will end here. The gases haven't been taken, and no 4th base. 2-2 feels quite delayed, though. Here we go, Maru trying to force his way up the ramp. The queens are waiting for him, and more Banelings are being morphed in as well. We have a decent tank spread, but Scarlett has maxed out. The rocks haven't been knocked down, so it's going to be difficult to get a surround, but regardless, we can come in from an angle. The queens are holding on. More lings are on the way. More banelings as well. Scarlett just biding her time, and now she pulls the trigger. She is going to commit. The banelings, they crash on forward, and we will not get on top of the tanks. These banelings are a little bit too late, and Maru, again, really good splits here from him. He does deal with the army, but does he have enough to keep on pushing? He's running out of steam. He's running out of Marines. Scarlett, bearing in mind, she can give up this base if she needs to. She did double expand earlier. Was forced to cancel that 6th base. But again, Maru is all in. So if Scarlett has to evacuate, she can. More banelings are on the way. The queens are running out. We once had 13. We are down to 3. Running out of queens once again. Scarlett gonna try to engage here. Decent baneling connections. The split is good, but there aren't that many Marines left. Scarlett barely breaks through. Despite the splits, the numbers just were not there. Scarlett's macro has snowballed out of control. The tank count is reset. The liberator count is reset. Maru has Marines, but Marines on their own cannot do it. As additional banelings are being morphed in, Scarlett has held, and Maru's still all in. It's still all or nothing for him. He's going to try and rotate around, and he's going to get some drones. We'll get quite a lot of workers, actually. 7 drones go down the Distressing Geyser as well. So Maru still has a fighting chance. He still has a pretty comparable army to that of Scarlett. And now the economy of Scarlett isn't as strong as it once was. But alas, the rest of the upgrades are kicking in, and Scarlett is about to max out once again. And it's still just a numbers game. Especially with Maru not really taking up. He lifts up his main. That's how desperate the situation is here for Maru. Gonna try to expand elsewhere. Meanwhile, Scarlett fighting off of creep. Not ideal. A rough engagement for Scarlett. Meanwhile, on the left-hand side, Maru breaks on through, gets on top of the banelings earlier, and kills even more workers. Maru, he's actually pulling this off. Snipes another Hydra. The main push moving through the center once again. This drop being such a nuisance. And Scarlett is struggling to keep up. Maru landing at the goal. Let's go. True, on Alkione, you can take the gold. Maru still has a pretty formidable economy to keep up with the banelings. The splits were not there. Maru, he wasn't looking. He was paying attention to his drop. The drop gets cleaned up. A lot of the Marines go down as well. But this hatchery does take a lot of hits. Oh, Hydra against Marines, you hate to see it. A lot of Hydras going down. An expensive trade here for Scarlett, but she breaks on through. Gets on top of both tanks once again. There's a 1 tank remaining behind this. We don't want to chase too far off of creep. Again, Maru has been trading well for himself, and with this gold base, he can keep himself going. Scarlett trying to squeeze out a base on the right-hand side. This has been spotted by Maru. He scans, he's aware. Once again, a drop towards the left-hand side. His main army rotating over towards the right. But this creep here, like pushing in towards the space, is not going to be an easy feat for Maru. He's just trying to pull Scarlett apart. Oh, but here come the infestors. Up! Up! We don't quite land with the fungals. Drop across the map does not get any damage done. Scarlett was ready and waiting. Hydras appear as well, and the full medevac goes down. Maru has taken his gases. It looks like he is attempting to transition out of this. With a gold base, he can, which means he can throw down another CC if he wanted to. 3-3 is on the way. Ooh. As Maru is splitting up his forces, this time with tanks on the right-hand side as well. But the infestors, the fungals, up! The tank gets caught out. Massive fungal in the army, and Maru is going to lose everything. The Marines, the medevacs go down the tank as well. Now we can focus on this push on the left-hand side. Only a single tank, and Maru once again cannot keep up here with Scarlett. The macro is insane. The tank goes down, and Scarlett has broken into the goal base. This was the one thing keeping Maru in this game. GG gets called, and Scarlett takes game number 1. Oh. GG. GG, well played. Oh my god, that was hyper aggressive out of Maru. It was crazy. In general, I wasn't expecting his initial Hellbat push from Maru as well. Scarlett, though, taking it very seriously. And after defending the Hellbat push, it was really interesting. So again, we pointed it out at the time, but Scarlett, she intentionally did delay her lair, and she was just droning up heavily. She delayed her additional gases as well, and droned up very quickly up to 73, and it was around 73 workers where she finally started working on her lair, started working on her upgrades, droned up to 85 very early on, up to 6 bases if you remember. She took her 5th and 6th at the same time, and by the time the 8 racks, the 3 base all-in from Maru appeared, Scarlett had gotten away with so much greed, and she was maxed. She was maxed out then and there. I didn't think she could be broken. Maru almost did. That's what's impressive about what Maru accomplished. Despite how well set up Scarlett was, Maru almost broke through anyway, and specifically because we're on Alkione, any other map and Maru would have died, but because there's a goal base, there's a goal base close by to the main, he was able to take advantage of that and keep things going, keep the pressure on, and was pulling Scarlett apart. But in the end, she was able to hold on, got out the spellcasters. GG. GG, well played. Oh my god. Happy. That was an intense game, and with that, we're now going to be getting into game number 2. Scarlett up 1-0. Again, an impressive game. Again, the execution for Maru was looking quite powerful as well, but because of the failed Hellbat push, Scarlett took advantage of that. Like, that's kind of, it feels like that's what it came down to. That was the turning point with Maru's failed 2-1-1 Hellbat push. Scarlett was able to get away with so much, and Maru was just stuck being timid, stuck just fighting for really creep control or map control and not really threatening Scarlett. She got away with so much, and that's what led to her overcoming Maru in the end. Whew. And now we're getting into game number 2 on Site Delta. Let's go. Let us go. CranKy Ducklings casting GSL? Is this like GSL Deluxe? Oh, the CranKy Star League. Let's go. Welcome, Gnome Chomsky. Welcome, Frost. Baby Links as well. I saw Rowdy in the chat earlier. Werehug. Bienvenidos todos. Bienvenidos. As we're getting into game 2 and spawning in the top left-hand corner of Site Delta, we have the Canadian Zerg player representing Shopify Rebellion up 1-0 in this best of 3 series. It is Scarlett. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have her opponent. We have the best Terran player in Korea, the best Terran in the world representing Onside Gaming. It is Maru. Down in this series, which is something I don't think many people thought would happen, but it's still a best of 3, still plenty of opportunities to come back in this series. And Maru is someone that you cannot count out. Even in that last game, when I thought that Scarlett had held the 8 racks, when I thought it was over, nah, Maru, he just kept on going, went for the gold, and kept the pressure on. He was relentless. As once again, we do have the low ground racks here from Maru. Meanwhile, Scarlett going for a standard opener, going for a hatch gas pull. Again, my eyes are really on Maru. Scarlett was more the reactor in the previous game. She reacted to what Maru was bringing to the table. And this is an interesting opener. We have been seeing a rise in popularity of the special opener, which is the racks into factory, not the 2 racks opener. We get a factory on the low ground. We wall off. We get the CC on the low ground as well. Yeah, interesting to see that even Maru is whipping this out. Obviously, the initial low ground 2 racks opener, the now dubbed Beyond opener, was initially incepted by Special. So yeah, it looks like Maru and Beyond may have been checking out some of his replays. The only other player that I've seen do this, last year I should say, is Special and Gumiho. And then recently, in the past couple of months, Future, and it looks like it's catching on a little bit more. Looks like it is catching on. As Scarlett is going to dip on forward, but oh, we do go for the Marine first, and with these Marines, this Overlord is going to be shut down. So a small supply block in the early game here for Scarlett, and she is unable to get a full scout of what's going on. Obviously, she knows that there are no Reapers, but she's unaware as to how many racks is... Oh, as this is a very different variation. So I assumed that it was going to be a racks into a factory, but no, it's a racks with a bunker, and we hide the follow-up tech. It's a 4 racks. He's crazy. Oh my god. So we have seen 4 Raxes in the past. 4-racks is a very common reaction or common follow-up from a 2-racks opener that we have seen from Cure and Bjorn and Maru. But this is a very different variation. This is a much greedier variation. The reason why I say this is because typically, to get into a 4-racks, you would go for a 2-racks opener to get map control and to scout, to get your Reapers across the map, to realize to get a read on what's going on, and to make sure that you're not being roach rushed, for example. But Maru, no Reaper scout, no SCV scout. He has no idea what is going on. He is blindly going for a 4-racks, hoping to catch Scarlett off guard. And again, this is going to hit a little bit harder and faster than a usual 4-racks. You know, Scarlett going to try and scout, but again, there's very little to see here at the natural base with the bunker in position. So she is playing blind. On top of that, she lost her Overlord as well, so very limited scouting information here for Scarlett. She has to play very safe just because she has no idea what's going on. It could be a 3cc opener, there could be a factory into a starport, a 1-1-1, could be a 2-1-1, could be 3-racks, or even this 4-racks. As we are just building up Marine. So the way that this works is this is going to hit with Stim and Combat Shields. This is not going to hit with Medevacs. We are of course no factory, no starport. This is going to be a ground-oriented push. Now because there are no Medevacs, Maru has to be very careful with how and when he stims. Has to be very careful with that because he has very limited stims available because he cannot regenerate his health. He cannot regenerate these Marines. But alas, there's going to be a very large force moving out. Maru keeping most of these Marines hidden. He reveals a couple, but with this amount of Marines, it could still be a 2-1-1. It could still be a 2-racks opener. So Scarlett is still not fully aware of what is coming her way. She's making an abundance of queens, which is the correct call to make. How many queens do we have? We have 6. We're about to have 9 queens, and we could even go further. The first wave of Marines are moving out. The second wave are waiting here for the moment. It looks like Maru wants to clear a path here from these Overlords. Does push one of them away. Again, just trying to keep this as hidden as possible. He's going to be pulling the... Oh my, he's going all in. 4-racks doesn't have to be all in, but he is going for the all-in variation. The boys have been pulled. It is all or nothing for Maru. And he has successfully hidden this. He has hidden this from Scarlett. No Baneling Nest, no Roach Warren, only Lings and only Queens. This is best case scenario for Maru, other than the fact that he's up against 9, soon to be 10 Queens. And now the push has been seen. The push has been scouted. We haven't seen the boys yet, but here we go. The SCVs reveal themselves. And Scarlett, how does she engage? She's zoned away from her own bases. As Maru's pushing up the ramp, he's going to gain access to the high ground. But no, he will turn and fight. It goes to the Queen, stims once. And Scarlett, she waits out the stim. Is going to lose 2 queens in the process. 3 the queens are being shut down. Every queen is going to fall. That was 1 stim here from Maru, and Scarlett goes for a counterattack. She's catching reinforcements. She's building up her army, but no more queens are available. Again, that was a lot of damage to this army, but another stim is going to be here for Maru. He has to be very careful with that second stim, though. He can't waste it. +1 carapace is going to be denied. There's that second stim. The Lings, they do come in for a surround. The Queens as well, and it looks like Scarlett, she has enough. The SCVs fall, and so will the Marines. Scarlett holds. May have lost her Queens, but her economy is intact, and that is all that Maru had left. He's got a couple of Marines trickling on him, but that's not going to be enough. Oh my god. Scarlett. It was a sacrifice that was necessary. She gave up all of her queens to buy time, to waste a stim, and it was a big blow. After the queens died, I didn't think that she would have enough, but she caught reinforcements. She waited for more of her own reinforcing Lings as well. Didn't even have to pull her own boys. And now Maru, he's running out of steam. He's down to 25 SCVs. Almost nothing left. Once again, the Lings, they catch reinforcements. They get a couple of Marines here and there. We're even going to engage. We're off of creep, so this is not ideal. Maru, he's stutter stepping his heart out, trading as efficiently as possible, but he's still losing out too many Marines. He's bleeding too much. Again, good stutter stepping, so Maru cleans up all those Lings. That was an inefficient trade from Scarlett, but it's a trade that she could afford because she is up to 48 workers. She's double expanding. She's got a 4th, 5th base. She can afford to be a bit inefficient. And Maru's backing off. Now Maru, he's trying to macro out of this. Muling, making SCVs, working up towards a factory and a starport, but Maru is behind. Straight up, he's in a really rough position. There's no 3rd CC. That's the biggest thing right now. He's stuck on 2 bases. lifting the main, and it's not what we saw in Alkioni is not really what we can see here from Maru. So he's stuck, contained to 2 bases, and Scarlett doesn't have to push in. All she has to do is check, make sure that there's no hidden base, no ninja base or anything, make sure that Maru doesn't sneak out a 3rd, and Scarlett, she can drone up to 3 base saturation and build up her forces. The queen count's getting higher once again. We're up to 11 queens, and that's a lot of links. Lair is done. Bailing speed should be on the way momentarily as well. That's probably the big thing that Scarlett's missing. Does spot the move out, and Scarlett, she's looking for a surround or even a counterattack. Oh my god. Again, I don't think Scarlett needs to do this, but again, Scarlett, she just wants to extend her lead. She doesn't want to give Maru a chance. She goes in for the surround. Oh my god. Big connections on the Marines. Even without bailing speed, Scarlett, she finds the connections. The Bailings, they roll in. The SCVs, they go down, and Scarlett busts into the natural base. GG gets called, and Scarlett takes game 2 and takes down Maru 2-1. GG. Oh my god. GG, well played. Scarlett, once again, being the defending player here, was able to keep up with Maru, was able to hold on, survive, and take both games, coming out into the winners match. GG. GG, well played. Oh my god. Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about that game. So that was a wild build out of Maru. No one else does that. As in, we have seen 4-axes before, but to cut corners, to rush into that 4-ax, and to also pull the boys with it, I can see a lot of power being behind that, right? I can see, I obviously, Maru does it because it works. Well, I'm sure it's worked in practice, and it felt like everything went right for Maru, right? It's like he successfully hit all of his Marines, he denied scouting, denied overlords, but I'm sure he was hoping that maybe Scarlett would make an assumption and be greedy, you know, maybe assume that it was a 2-on-1 and cut corners and drone up too much and be caught exposed. But no, Scarlett was just very safe, very secure, went up to, what was it, 10 queens as well, droned up to 47, I want to say, before just focusing on link production, and yeah, just really solid play there out of Scarlett. Despite that, maybe being the best case scenario for Maru, did not quite work out, and yeah, GG, very well played by Scarlett. Again, Maru came in with very specialized builds. Game 1, it was a 3-base all-in on 8 Raxes. Game 2, it was a 2-base all-in. And Maru, he's known for being very aggressive, he's known for cheesing. And yeah, clearly just didn't think as highly of Scarlett, I feel. Picking these builds, trying to cheese Scarlett out with all these all-ins, didn't quite work out for him. And now Maru was knocked down to the losers match. And that is terrifying. I don't think anyone expected that, and I worry for the loser of the next series that faces off against Maru. That's because you don't really expect to be going up against Maru in the losers match. He is still a favored player to make it out of this group, don't get me wrong. Like, I would still favor him against everyone else, even Scarlett, especially in a more standard macro game. But that is not what Maru came to the table with. That is not what he brought to the table against Scarlett. I wonder if Maru is going to change things up here in these next matches, whether it's against Creator or Solar, or even a rematch against Scarlett later on. I wonder if he will change his approach, or if he just doubles down, because I don't think many people were expecting Maru, of all people, to be close to elimination in the round of 16. Crazy. Regardless, GG, well played, very well executed there by Scarlett. Really solid defense, really solid reaction. And I was getting a little bit concerned towards the end there. That's like, Scarlett, we just need a drone back. We don't need to go for the kill, but she went for it and she was able to execute it beautifully. Was able to shut down Maru before he even had a chance when it came to getting into a longer game. And yeah, congratulations, Scarlett does advance on to the winners match. GG.